Let us make the case that the most successful music conservatory is not in Paris, Vienna, or Berlin, but rather in a house on a tree-lined street in Nottingham, England. It might be an unpretentious structure, but it's there that 7 extravagant talents were nourished on a variety of instruments before setting off to perform at the world's great concert halls, often as featured soloists with the world's great orchestras. Each of the 7 is still under age 30, representing the young crossover stars that the ever-graying classical music world so urgently needs. Oh, and one other thing. They're all siblings, presenting the Kanneh-Masons. It's rare these days to find all 7 Kanneh-Mason siblings under one roof. But when they are back in their childhood home in Nottingham, old habits return quickly. Amid the din, it's hard to keep thoughts together, much less keep tempo. Every room's spoken for as the siblings practice Bach or Beethoven or Brahms. This is the setting that produced what is surely the most statistically improbable story in classical music history. 7 siblings, each a virtuoso by almost any definition. Roll call. Jenaba 23, Aminata 20, Sheku 26, Brima 28, Izada 29, Konya 25, and Mariatu 16. The Gretel von Trapp, as it were. The Kanneh-Mason siblings have toured the world, recorded chart-topping albums, won prestigious awards. They perform with each other in every combination. And as we saw at Carnegie Hall last winter, the bond between the siblings expresses itself as a kind of musical banter. We notice when you play together, there really seems to be this unspoken connection, this telepathy. What is it like playing with a sibling versus accompaniment you're not related to?
Well, because we're so close, I think there's like a speed at the way that we interact. And I think that kind of unspoken communication is just very quick because of how close we are. Because we would listen to each other playing around the house, so we know each other's playing very well.
That dynamic helped the Kanneh-Masons build a devoted fan base. A diverse, young fan base in a genre desperate for a wider audience. The overarching question to this whole story is, how do 7 siblings achieve this level of talent and success?
Well, I think the environment is so important, and because our environment was so intensely musical and loving and supportive, it was kind of bound to happen in one way or another, as in us feeling like we could achieve what we have achieved on our instruments.
I'm hearing a lot of nurture, more than nature.
Yeah, I think that's what we all believe. I think if there were a nature part, it would be having that base level of interest. You can't force a child to like something.
There was never a grand plan here, say the parents. Kadi Kanneh, born in Sierra Leone, and Stuart Mason, born in London, had taken music classes in school. But that's it. When they started raising kids, music was just another entry in a packed schedule of after-school activities.
Yeah. They went to cricket down the road, do you remember?
Oh gosh, yes.
Lots of football, cricket,
karate,
yeah,
I've forgotten, yes.
Lots of things.
Tennis.
Gymnastics,
yes.
one.
So I think in the end, what you want to do is fuel your child's creative juices, really.
It does not sound as though your children were conceived to have in mind to be musicians. It sounds like you...
No, it all happens accidentally, really.
The eldest, Izada, started on piano when she was 6. She took to it. And as the Kanneh-Mason clan grew, the younger siblings, as younger siblings do, imitated the bigger kids. A glorious chain reaction. As to which instruments they chose, there was healthy competition, perhaps with a dash of Freud thrown in. Sheku was saying that he took up cello in part because you had the violin and he wanted to play a bigger instrument.
Yeah, I think there could have been something about, and it helps it's objectively a better instrument, so then...
You're going to take that?
I think the violin is more popular, there's more repertoire.
It became clear each also had talent. Blazing, abundant talent, which Stewart, an executive in the travel industry, and Cotty, a former English professor, were determined to foster. It was intense. The kids attended local public schools, then practiced 3 and 4 hours a day. All 7 were selected for the junior program at the renowned Royal Academy of Music in London, 2 hours each way every Saturday. Any extra income went directly to instruments and lessons. Cotty says that more than once they nearly defaulted on their mortgage. Some people might hear the story and say, boy, I wonder what kind of pressure that must have been. There must have been a real hothouse. Was it a hothouse?
No, it's not a hothouse. I think it's a house of children who had a love of music. They did work hard.
It's an interesting balance, isn't it? Because they told us this is what they wanted to do. So then we had to be honest and say, well, if this is what you want to do, then you have to work hard. Because the reality is, if you want to be successful at anything, you have to go for it.
But if they said, music's not for me, I want to be a champion darts player or florist.
Great.
As the kids grew, the home grew into an informal music school. Every week, they'd all gather for what they called their Sunday concerts. Each would play a piece while the others would give notes. Put us in the room. What are those like?
Well, the room was the hallway usually. So everyone would be sitting on the stairs, kind of looking down at the space.
On the Gladiator Stadium.
The unlucky performer.
Yeah.
And then we take it in turns and perform.
Yeah.
And it's so scary because you finish performing and then everyone's like, who wants to go first?
Yeah.
These were really critical. These were really helpful to your growth as musicians.
Yeah, because you have to get used to putting yourself under that pressure. Otherwise you'll go on stage and it's so easy to just crumble under the nerves.
If mom and dad weren't typical stage parents, the pressure came instead from one another. As siblings, they can dispense with the niceties. They remain each other's toughest critics, most demanding coaches.
We'll play just those
I think pressure comes from knowing the standards in the music world, and I suppose that's not a negative pressure, but just a feeling of this is what's required of me.
In terms of career strategy, Cotty says the kids have always called the shots, and it's never been about clicks, likes, or commerce.
We're the Kanneh-Masons.
In 2015, they agreed to appear on Britain's Got Talent. Good exposure. But only if they can include real classical repertoire, rather than a pop-heavy set list. You surely could have milked this story and the novelty of 7 kids and shopped a reality show.
Yes.
How did you make these commercial decisions, what to pursue and
because
what not?
they did not want that. Yeah. They wanted to be classical musicians and be really good at what they did.
But they had their convictions.
Yes.
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 Well, here is Sheku, Kanneh-Mason.
From there, the invites and accolades, you might say, crescendoed. Sheku won a major British music award and caught the eye of a certain couple in search of a wedding entertainer. When he performed at the marriage of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle in 2018, the world heard him play. And suddenly, Sheku was a bona fide star, the first cellist ever to crack the top 10 on the UK album charts. Here he is posing for British GQ. Ironic because of all the Kanneh-Masons, Sheku presents as the quietest, perhaps the least comfortable wearing the cloak of celebrity. But get a cello in his hand. Would you mind playing for us?
Oh, with pleasure.
And he transforms. And draws packed audiences, as we saw in London. The siblings came out to support, as they try to do whenever one of their own takes the stage. Sheku's performance quivers with intensity. Yes, that's sweat glistening on this $3 million Venetian cello he has on loan.
That was phenomenal.
All 7 still perform as a family from time to time, but Kanneh has pivoted, devoting herself to writing fiction. Aminata tried out acting school, but music tugged her back and she decided to return to conservatory. Brima branched out too, touring with the dance pop band Clean Bandit before returning to classical. The youngest, Mariatu, plans to go pro. As to the 4 current professionals, they're busy recording or touring. And in the spring, Sheku will take the stage as artist-in-residence at the New York Philharmonic. You've come into the public as this unit, as the Kanneh-Masons. How do you balance the collective with also trying to carve out an identity as individuals?
I think it's something that probably gets easier as you get older because you start to just get more confidence and more knowledge about what kind of things you want to be doing. And also musically, I think that gets easier. I mean, we play different instruments, we're different ages, we play different repertoire.
Though there are, well, some strings attached.
Out of all the sisters, we look the most similar. So a lot of the time people come up to me and be like, oh, you played so well last night at Carnegie. And I was like, oh, that wasn't me. So we tried to do like, did it happen to you?
A few days ago.
This is the first time this has ever happened.
No, someone said, oh, I saw you on TV this morning. I said, no, you didn't. I was asleep.
They confess they remain fiercely competitive when, say, apportioning dinner or playing board games.
Me too.
So we wondered about competition in their careers.
You should be inspired by those around you, and if someone is doing something that you're not able to, I think you should feel that encouragement and inspiration to want to do that. But I think as soon as that comparison starts to become about the external things, like, oh, you're doing this concert, and like that, then I think everything can just crumble very quickly, I think.
Yeah, and I think that kind of rivalry, if you feeling good about yourself as a musician, is based on, you didn't get this concert and I did. I think that's a very weak base.
Yeah. So you'll joke about who got the biggest piece of pizza, but you guys draw a line. That's not going to contaminate our music.
We draw the line at music because our instruments are such like an integral part of ourselves, and it would be like deeply attacking the other person.
Yet another way the Kanneh-Masons maintain harmony. An orchestra greater than the sum of its parts. This most remarkable of septets.